So now that those files have been synced, you'll notice that it's telling us that we are in sync already. And so that means that we don't have any changes that need to be sent up or pulled down. Keep in mind that synchronizing in GitHub for Windows does both the push and the pull operation together. If you were using a command line, you could do one and then the other, but GitHub for Windows is just going to get you back in sync every time. So it's going to do a push and a pull if they're required. One of the next things that we want to look at is how we can undo some of our changes. So this last change that I made was to shift some things around. Well, perhaps I didn't really want to do that. So let's go ahead and take a look at these two options, revert and roll back. The first thing we're going to click on is to revert. If we do this, you'll notice that we now have this unsynced commit that was automatically created for us. It has a commit message that says it reverted, and the message is the previous message. So you can see which commit I have reverted. And the way that it does this is it just does the reverse of the operations that were done in the previous one, effectively undoing it. But it does so by doing its own commit. So if I were to sync at this time, it will actually go and add one additional commit that undoes the previous one. And you'll notice that they are both listed here now, and we can see what happens in each one. And you'll notice that they are mirror opposites. Also notice that the description, this is the extended description, the optional portion of our commit message, specifically gives the unique ID of that commit. That ID number is specific to that commit and that commit only. So that's how you can make sure that you know precisely which commit was undone. The next thing that we're going to try to do is a rollback. The way that a rollback works is that it's going to undo our commit rather than committing a new commit that reverses our previous one. So revert is another commit of its own that reverts the changes in the previous one. A rollback is undoing one of those changes. Let's go ahead and make a commit, and then we're going to go ahead and roll it back. So now that I've made that change, let's go ahead and take a look at what I did. I added in some new text, and I'm going to go ahead and commit it. So once that's committed, perhaps I realize a little while later before I push out, oh no, I didn't mean to do that. So let's go ahead and roll this one back. So when I do that, you'll notice that my change is still here. I haven't actually modified the file, but what happened is that the commit itself is gone. So you'll notice I'm back in sync. I no longer have an uncommitted change. So I can go ahead and modify that file again. So now that I've made that change, I can go in and commit it again. So now it's ready to actually get pushed out. So this is a way of very easily undoing something that you did by mistake. And it leaves it so that you don't have a revert commit inside of your history. Now there's personal preference over which technique you use to undo something you've done by mistake. I usually prefer having the commit, which maintains the history and keeps everything a little bit truer. Yes, there's some side effects to this in that your history becomes a little bit longer. However, I think that it ends up being a much nicer situation. Let's go ahead and sync.